Welcome to the Too Inquisitive podcast.
You're too inquisitive.
Hey listeners, I have a great podcast lined up for you guys today. It is very informational with a very amazing guest, very knowledgeable. He's been in his industry for a while, but before I introduce him, I just want to talk about a few things going on in the BVI right now. So the government has announced that we're gonna be reopening on December 1st, and now they've announced that the only way to enter will be through the airport on Beef Island. They've also announced that you have to quarantine for 4 days. And everyone on Facebook seems to be losing their fucking minds over this information. And I just don't understand why. I definitely understand why locals are upset about having to use the airport versus being able to come in on the ferries and stuff. I completely understand that. It's much more expensive using the airport. The plane tickets are expensive, not to mention the departure tax and stuff. It sucks. It's like you'll probably spend $75 max with the ferry round trip. That includes all the tax and stuff, the departure tax and what's not. But flying into Beef Island, round trip tickets from the States, like let's say Miami, or even no, we'll just stick to St. Thomas. Doing it from St. Thomas, you can spend like $250. Probably more. It's probably more in the 300-ish range. So I get the frustration there. But why is everyone mad about having to quarantine for 4 days? Really? You're upset about 4 days? Yes, I understand there are some places where there's no quarantine at all. All you need is just a negative test. But there are other places that have 5 days quarantine, 7 days quarantine, 14 days quarantine. Some even go up to 24 days quarantine. I'm not mad at 4 days. I'm mad that we're opening December 1st and not September 1st. That's what the fuck I'm mad about. We should have been opened, in my opinion. We should have been opened a long time ago. The other thing is, a lot of you guys complaining that's all you're doing. You're just complaining. You don't do anything about it. I see people complaining all the time about there's no jobs, the pay is being cut and whatever, and I get the frustration. My job has been affected too. My pay has been cut basically in half. I'm pretty much making minimum wage right now, and it sucks, and everyone's hurting. Everyone is hurting. I mean, there are some people that are not hurting. The rich seem to be getting richer and the poor seem to be getting poorer. But instead of just sitting at home on Facebook all day complaining, literally all day, I watched someone literally post from in the morning when they got up to when I was leaving work at 3 in the afternoon. They just posted and posted and posted on Facebook. Instead of posting so much all day, why don't you put your time and energy into something productive? Figure out how to make some money. I get it. You're mad. You're not making any money because of COVID. Everything's shut down. I understand. I'm upset too. I would love for my paycheck to go back to normal. But I don't just sit down and complain all day. I figured out, well, not even that I figured out, but I'm figuring things out on how to make some money otherwise than just depending on my job. I have bills to pay. Literally, when I write my check for my rent and then I pay my phone and internet bill, my paycheck is completely dead. That's how much my paycheck has been cut. I literally just afford rent and my phone and internet bill, and that is it. I don't have any money for groceries. She's not a newborn anymore. She's almost 7 months now. But I have a baby that needs Pampers and formula, and all that stuff is not cheap. But I make it work. I don't just sit down and do nothing. I go out and I hustle. I'm finding different ways to make money. I have the OnlyFans. I have my regular business, which isn't making as much money as it used to, but I'm still trying to make money somehow. I have this podcast now. I'm entering competitions. Like, there is stuff you can do. You can go out and fish. Go catch a goat. Plant some stuff. Sell the vegetables. Do something. There's a quote that I saw a while ago. I don't know who made the quote, but it said, "Being broke is hard, and making money is hard. Pick a hard." Anyways, enough of my rant. Let's introduce today's guest. He is a good friend of mine for a few years now, very talented. He is a professional at what he does, and he does it full time, which I aspire to do. I would love to do this kind of stuff full time. What I love doing rather than the job I have now. This is DJ Wiz. All right, brother DJ Wiz. Thank you for being a guest on the podcast. Excited to have you on.
Awesome. It's always a pleasure being here with you. Cool.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to have you on the podcast because we're really good friends and you're a very interesting person to talk to. And I know you have a lot of knowledge and stuff that I really want to get into on this episode of the podcast.
All right. Awesome. Go right ahead. I'm willing to share. It's an open book somewhat. Some I can't disclose, but yeah.
Okay, so first off, let's talk about how the pandemic has affected you being a DJ. Because obviously, with the lockdowns and the curfews and stuff, being a DJ, your main thing is playing events and stuff, and majority of those events are at night.
Main source. Yep. Main source of income has been practically depleted. In terms of events, gatherings, I have had so many bookings that has been canceled, not postponed, but totally canceled. I had so many events that I was booked for throughout the year in terms of traveling and locally. Mm-hmm. If you want me to go into reference for some of them.
Yeah, sure.
I was booked to travel to Antigua. Mm-hmm. I was booked to travel to St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I was booked to travel to Anguilla, New York, and Grenada, among a few of those areas. And unfortunately, the pandemic stopped it all. In terms of local bookings, I did a few events when we were open for a short time.
That was like right after the lockdown.
I had yes. Mm-hmm. I did a few events. I actually had a few bookings for private events like villa parties. I had a pajama event that was booked for, which was booked for last weekend. Mm-hmm. I had a wedding. I actually had 2 cancellations on the weddings, which were booked for next week. Wow. So it's kind of disheartening, and it's kind of hard as an entertainer currently to survive based on the pandemic and what's going on. Because I mean, most clubs and bars are closed, and the gatherings are reduced to 20 to 50 people, depending on the circumstances.
Yeah, depending on the type of event, I believe. Yes. I think like churches and stuff can have like 50. But then I think
50, yes.
Regular events.
Social gathering is down to 20 and 10.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, about something like that, yeah. Well, they just announced that they're extending the curfew to 8 now. So do you think things might start to pick back up a little bit more?
Extending it to 8 don't mean that the clubs, bars, and other places that you have social gatherings are open.
Sure.
So it's still being that it's extended to 8 doesn't really affect me, because at the end of the day, in terms of business, I'm still at home.
Yeah, that's true. Fair enough.
I mean, in terms of pandemic, otherwise, it have actually guided me to another path of doing other avenues of entertainment in terms of streaming and other business sources in terms of creating revenue and income.
That's great. At least you're finding other stuff to do and to generate some type of income.
I know definitely. Had to survival.
With streaming, I know DJs taking a hit too, because streaming on platforms like Facebook and other platforms, they hit you with those copyright hits quick. they hit you with it
Yeah,
fast.
infringement acts, of
Yeah.
course. Yeah, you're flagged and deleted, and yeah, I've been a victim of that. I'm actually headed to a platform that is basically, how should I say, geared towards DJs in general, and with the copyright infringements, there are no penalties like what you will face with YouTube and Facebook and other platforms, such being.
Mm-hmm.
I'm currently headed towards Mixcloud, so my
Okay.
fans will be able to follow me or view my streams live on Mixcloud. My
How would they find you? You
Mixcloud
have like a certain
account.
account
Yeah,
name or
I'm
something?
headed right there to that.
Yeah.
My Mixcloud account is Mixcloud / DJ Wiz VI. I'm actually DJ Wiz VI on all social media platforms.
Great. Perfect. So did you ever like look into trying to live stream on Twitch?
Twitch Twitch is going to have eventually have its problems, such as with Facebook and whatever, because Twitch was actually made for more gaming streaming than
Yeah.
DJ. DJs are actually trying to change the strategy what it was actually created for or geared towards for.
Yeah, not even just DJing, like they have like stuff like cooking shows and even people
Yes,
hosting their
definitely.
podcasts and that type of stuff. Like,
And that eventually will be, how should I say, control, just like how you see Facebook has tightened up on stuff being done by on those platforms.
fair enough. Yeah. So you pretty much looking towards gearing for the long run.
Of course, of course.
Hmm.
And if you're trying to build a target audience or clientele, switching platforms kind of kills that, because
Yeah, it's very
it's
hard
only
to
a
get them
few
to follow you.
genuine ones. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
It's only the genuine ones definitely will follow you from platform to platform. Eventually, it becomes annoying.
Yeah, it's true. I faced that same kind of struggles like with TikTok, like how TikTok was shutting down and getting banned and stuff in the
Of
US and stuff.
course, of
Trying to get
course,
people
of
to
course.
follow from TikTok to move to my YouTube and stuff like it's difficult.
Yeah,
It's difficult for sure.
yeah. It's very very hard. It takes a
So you
I
said,
should, how should I say? It takes marketing.
yeah, as you said, you switch into Mixcloud. So with Mixcloud and
Yes.
going live, does it offer like the same features that Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook offer you in terms of like, can people like tip you and stuff while you're live? And is there a way to generate income
Yes.
directly from it?
I think they're actually developing one part which was missing, which would be the way to interact with chats and whatever. But people will
Hmm.
be allowed to tip, or you could broadcast or pin a message on your stream where people could donate or contribute to what you're doing. Also with Mixcloud, you actually get paid for your content rather than being flagged. So some of the revenue that you create by doing those streams, you get paid for playing your content.
Makes sense. So like in terms of like how artists would get paid for streams on like
Exactly.
Spotify or
So
stuff.
the artists get paid for their share of the stream, and you get paid for using it.
So it benefits both worlds then.
Both, yes, definitely. So like I said, it's actually geared more for the DJ community other than just streaming regular.
That's great. That's great.
Awesome.
So before the pandemic, obviously you said like because of the pandemic you had to cancel so much gigs and events and stuff, right? So that means before the pandemic, business was doing pretty well then.
Definitely, yes. I can't complain. It was great
And I know
and
you
growing.
are a DJ full time, right?
Full time DJ. Been that for years.
How long? Like when did you really start DJing?
Professionally, I've been a DJ from since I was 18 years old professionally.
Hmm.
Personally, I've been DJing from time I was the age of 13. I'm currently making 48. Disclosing the age, yeah.
So okay, that's about 30 years then.
That's about 35 years to be exact.
35. Oh, okay. So before you decided to be a DJ full time, were you working
Uh-huh.
any jobs or anything, or did you always like
I
straight from 18 you were just a DJ?
I've I no, I've did a variety of odd jobs. How should I say? I'm a jack of all trades, master of a few. But DJing always been my passion. I've been, how should I say, pastry chef. I've been painter. I've been delivery guy. I've been messenger. I've been like in a variety of places. Actually also I do a bit of tour operations and taxiing. So
Nice.
yes, I've dabbled in a few things, but music always been my passion and actually always been the main source of income in terms of revenue.
Okay, so at what point did you say, or at what point did you know that music is all you really needed to do? Like you could put aside all the rest of the odd jobs. You didn't have to
I
rely on anything else for income.
I quit. Let's say it this way. I quit my last odd job in 1997 and took up
That's
DJing full time. I
that's two
used
years
to
before I was
own
born.
a yeah, that I used to own a music store and a clothing store, and I used to do mixtapes and sell CDs and vinyls, records.
Nice.
So, yep. Also, I like before that, I like I said, was doing odd jobs. I still used to do like radio. I've been one of the first DJs on Zerad. Uh,
Okay.
I've also been instrumental in and maybe one of the first, if not the first DJ at ZVCR. I also used to manage ZVCR radio station.
Okay. So okay, let's get into radio stations and stuff. From my general understanding,
Uh huh.
radio stations basically make money similar to how TV stations make money, like from advertising.
Correct.
When you're first starting a radio station, what is the level of difficulty to get people to advertise with your station?
Level of difficulty. Uh, actually,
Yeah, because
uh,
you're
how
just
should I?
starting out, so
Um,
how do you
how should I?
convince people to?
One, I would say it's based on your demographics in terms of age and audience that you're catering to, and then your content in terms of what you put out there has to be meeting the need of your target audience. So I would say what would be the hard thing for, or what was my trials in terms of doing that? It wasn't much because what I was doing when I entered radio, most of the stations were new. And in our area, or I should say in the Virgin Islands, people tend to gravitate towards new stuff. So they embraced it from the get go. It was just for me to fulfill the need of what they desired. Does,
Understandable.
does that answer your
So
question fully?
how quick would you? Yeah, pretty much. How quick would you say it took to get like that false advertiser?
There were actually advertisers from jump inception, but in terms of growing clientele, it it I would say it became stable after the first 6 to 8 months after inception. I mean,
That's actually not that bad.
there were advertisers that came on board immediately, but after people kind of gain trust in the product, what you were delivering, is when they decide, okay, well, I'm gonna commit to advertising with these people, and maybe a long term process. So yeah, basically that's it.
So I know you don't do any radio stations anymore. What was no? I want to say.
I
Oh,
still do.
which radio stations you playing for now?
You mean
Yeah,
locally?
locally. Yeah.
I still do. Okay, locally none. I still do productions and stuff for Power WSSQ, which is Sniper Squad
Oh,
Radio.
okay. Mm-hmm.
So big up to my Sniper Squad team.
So
And that's based in the Carolinas.
oh, nice. I actually didn't know where they were based. But the question I wanted to ask was when oh no, not when, sorry. Did you prefer, because I could imagine even though you were on the radio, you were still DJing events and that sort of stuff. Do you prefer playing live events in person, or did you prefer being behind the scene? Well, not necessarily behind the scenes, but I mean like on the radio, because you're not live. I mean, you're live,
On
but you're
radio.
not seeing the audience live.
All right, that's an easy answer. That's very easy. In terms of doing clubs versus radio, I would rather the interaction any day. I mean, for me personally as a DJ, it's an odd feeling when you don't have a crowd in front of you. I kind of feed off the energy of having people dancing and enjoying what I do. With radio, it's more like you have to pretend and envision what you have. So it takes more energy to do radio than to do live crowds. I rather live crowds by far.
So basically, like doing a live crowd is more fulfilling in a sense.
Of course, of course. It's always a pleasure when my clients are pleased.
So would you say that's one of the reasons why you stopped doing radio locally, or that didn't really play a part in it?
There are a few personal reasons why I decided to step back from doing it. I mean, in future, maybe I might do it again and go back into it, but for now, I'm taking a backseat.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm trying to think on which question I want to ask you next, because I have a lot of them in my head.
Keep them coming. I don't mind.
Yeah. So okay, I know. So obviously, you've been DJing for, like you said, 35 years. So I know you've built this big clientele list, and you've probably played for a lot of stars or celebrities or big names or rich people like billionaires and stuff.
Of course.
Could you list a few of your favorite people that you've played for, and what it was like when you realized that they were there in the crowd?
Actually, how should I say this? I'll say the biggest, or to me personally, was the most fulfilling job in terms of celebrities would be the Obamas, which I'm not really supposed to disclose what happened or how the party was, but definitely that was the biggest party personally. Secondly would be, I can't remember the name of the client, but he is rated as the 9th richest person in the world.
Nice.
I played for a party for him and his entourage alongside Cool and the Gang.
Where
The
where
third
was
one
that?
would
Was that
be
local or
that was hosted on Necker Island.
okay?
Thirdly would be two. I'll give you two more. Third would be the producers and hosts, or I should say the producers and some of the cast for Marvel movies. I've did a few parties for them, and they are number 3. Number 4 would be John Legend. I won't go into detail further with the other celebrities, but those are just a few.
Well, that's
That
actually a
that
very
would
impressive list still. Those are some really big
yes.
names. I'm pretty sure anyone who listens to this podcast will be able to recognize all those people right away.
Yeah.
So I've actually personally never been to Necker Island, but I would assume most of those parties you listed were probably at Necker, right?
Let's see, I would say all.
All. What?
All of those in terms of celebrities, yes. Um, in terms of biggest parties, or you just still want to do the celebrities?
Oh,
I
biggest
think the
parties.
most enjoyable and biggest party I would say personally locally
Hmm.
would be Foxy's All Years.
Oh, I've
I've
actually
done
never
that.
been over
I've
there for all years.
I've done that. I've done that for a few years also. And then locally again would be I did the Bomba Shack Full Moon Party before Bomba Shack was not there anymore. I
Hmm.
did that for like 3 years consecutively, and there were a few celebrities that came through while doing Bomba Shack.
That sounds like great experiences, to be honest. I wish I could have
Sure bet.
experienced those things. I know for all years, I'm always at Anigata because a lot of people don't realize it, but Anigata has one of the biggest all years parties in the BVI also. I mean, definitely
Definitely.
can't compare to Foxy's, but
Foxy's is rated third worldwide.
yeah, it is up there. But I mean,
Yeah. And the year that I did that, I had the pleasure of having like Oprah in the midst. Who else was there that year? I did the year with Magic Johnson. I think there was Michael Jordan there one year. So yeah,
mhm. See even more celebrities again, more A-listers that everybody would be able to recognize those names right away.
yep,
Okay, so one thing I wanted to talk to you about is one of my favorite parties for the year was canceled because of Corona,
yeah.
and that is Christmas in
Christmas
July.
in July.
Yeah, I know you would know exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that's actually one of my favorite events. It's more work and not DJ,
Hmm.
being that I'm also affiliated with AZP Productions and we do soundstage and lighting, and that was
Hmm.
actually derived from us being DJs.
True. Yeah. Well, I went to my first Christmas in July last year,
And
and
after,
that's after Richie telling me about it for
of
years.
course, once you have experienced it once, I think you wouldn't want to miss it another year.
That is
And
very true.
that's just based on my opinion. I think we've been doing that for what, 5 years now consecutively.
Man, they are so much fun.
It
Like
sure is. It's an
the
awesome party that I would invite anyone to come to. And remember, it's open to the public. You just gotta bring your best behavior.
yes. And it's free drinks. I think the only thing you basically had to pay for
Yes,
was the
for
little
us,
vendors that were selling food.
of course, it's free alcohol, free. It's an adult party, free drinks in terms of it, mostly alcoholic beverages,
Hmm.
and you pay for food vendors where if you need food or whatever necessary.
And the party is totally worth it. Like
Yeah,
just
it's
as
definitely worth it. It's just that it's the one of the only party that you don't have access where you could drive straight to the event. It is hosted on a somewhat semi-private beach.
mhm.
Uh, you have to, if you're going by foot, you will have to hike the terrain to get there. But once you
But
get
that's part
there,
of the experience though.
that's I'm just gonna say it. Once you
Yeah.
get there, it's worth the trot.
It definitely is. And the trot isn't like a long trot anyways. It's
No,
less than a 10-minute walk for sure.
definitely.
And it's
So
the
so
difficulty level isn't bad.
and of course, I must say salute to the guys that host that party, which is Marcos Rivera and Wally Castro. They are quite instrumental in hosting that event. Shout out to Wally and the crew.
Hmm. Shout out to them. I remember as soon as we left the party last year, all I could think about was I can't wait for next year.
Hey, I mean, like that is an event that I look forward to. Although that is the event that maybe I work the hardest for the whole year, I still look
Mhm.
forward to it every year faithfully. Hopefully, let's see what happens in the future. I'm not gonna say it might happen again because based on the circumstances and COVID and the whole situation, that is kind of iffy right now.
Mhm.
So the world is actually changed by COVID totally in terms of
Yeah,
entertainment.
definitely.
I mean,
I
no,
told people when COVID started that COVID was going to change the world the same way how 9/11 changed the world in
it
terms
actually
of
it
flying
actually
and
it
stuff.
actually totally it actually changed it even more than just 9/11. I mean, I've
Hmm.
experienced 9/11. there were restrictions, but COVID is like on a total different level.
You know what? Some interesting information I found out recently, like how everyone, not everyone, but a lot of people are complaining about having to wear masks and stuff, and like people hate wearing masks. I personally don't like wearing masks. I remember the first day I stepped out of the house and I had to wear a mask all day. That triggered my anxiety all day, and it sucked. But what I
Yeah.
found out is in places like Japan that were
It's
affected by the Spanish flu over 100 years ago,
yeah.
they
It was a norm.
yeah they
It was already a norm.
yeah
Yes.
they literally always been wearing masks since 100 years ago. It's been they just used to it, and it's always
Yeah.
been a normal thing that if you're feeling sick, you wear a mask wherever you go.
Correct.
So life in Japan is pretty much the same before COVID.
Same normal.
Yeah, it's
Of
normal
course.
to them, and they've managed to keep their COVID rates down because everyone wearing a mask because they already were wearing a mask either way.
Definitely true.
And when I found that out, I thought that was amazing because
Yeah, that's so
I had
cool.
no idea. But what scared me about it too is knowing that 100 years from now, we gonna start probably still be wearing a mask too. That can be our new
Uh,
normal.
I think that's something that we'll have to definitely insert into our lifestyles of wearing some kind of protective gear in terms of facial and whatever. Yeah, definitely mask would be somewhat of a norm.
To bring back up the Christmas in July, they have one of my favorite drinks, which you actually introduced me to, and I want to talk about that day too when you introduce it to me. But I'm
All
talking
right.
about Gasolina.
Big plug for Gasolina. Shout out to them also.
Yeah, if you guys have not had Gasolina yet, I would highly recommend it. I'm so sad Caribbean Sellers doesn't sell it anymore because me and Richie were buying them by the cases when Caribbean Sellers had them.
Maybe I need to take up that as a distributor.
You should. I tell you, if you don't sell to nobody else, me and Richie will keep you afloat.
Yeah,
I can guarantee
there
that.
are people that definitely like the product, and it's something that I've considered. I could go on the tape and say I've considered it. So maybe that might be an avenue of creating some revenue in the future. But yes, it has been tabled already.
Well, the day you do it, let me know, cause I'll have a huge honor for you.
Of course, it will be public. You know that.
Yeah. So I remember the first day I had it was Poker Run, and you were playing on Speedies, and this was
Speedy's
actually
boat ride.
this was my
Yep.
first time actually taking the ferry for Poker Run, and I just did it just because I wanted to hear you play, and
Of course.
I had a great time with you. It was a lot of fun, and I remember
course.
you were sharing out the gasolinas to everybody on board, and
Yeah.
when everybody was like on their first one, I was ready for like my third one, and I kept coming back to you for them. And by the end of the night, I could hardly remember anything on that boat. Right? But know
I
had
could
fun.
remember that. I could remember that vividly. I remember I gave it to you with a one, and I said, "Listen, it goes down nice. You feel good, but look out for the creep up." I mean, like I said, the guys for Gasolina, and I could say this now. They were promoting the product, and they gave me a few promotional cases to give away during the Speedy's Poker Run boat ride. They were actually a sponsor for the Poker Run that year also. So I was doing the honors of introducing a few people to the product. I know, and so far, based on the reviews that I got, no one had a bad response in terms of the product. Everybody loves it, and
Definitely.
they're looking forward to getting more. Like you said, the same question that you just asked was like, where is it available, and how could I be able to purchase it by bulk?
I'm saying, because first of all, it's like for the people who don't know, it's like an adult Capri Sun.
Yeah, party
It
in a
tastes like
pouch.
juice. Yeah, it tastes like juice, but the alcohol percentage is much higher than your average beer. Because I think the
Nat-
average beer is like 5%.
It's a sangria.
Yeah, gasolina is like 13%. But it tastes so good.
Of course, especially so
And-
chilled.
And they come in different flavors and stuff. Like they
Of
have like
course.
four or five flavors, right?
Actually, they're up to about 6 flavors right now.
See, I so behind because Caribbean Sellers just cut off the whole process.
Please refrain from Caribbean sellers. I don't want you to be knocking them. Those are my friends also.
I very much love Caribbean. No, listen, I messaged a girl today self to tell her to send me their list because I still trying seeing as how the BVI is planning to reopen up December 1st. I am trying to still plan out to have my Juve hopefully for Lobster Fest.
Okay.
And Caribbean Sellers, if you're listening, I just want you to know I want you to be a sponsor. So sponsor the Juve if it's allowed. And that's why I was asking the girl for the list today too, because I wanted to see what all the drinks list so I could
in
see
terms of products. Yes. All right. So
but yeah, trust me, like Caribbean Sellers know I love them.
Of course,
that's why I could talk about them this way because I'm mad that they get rid of one of my favorite drinks.
Understandable. So, any other questions as we go on?
Yeah. I'm trying to remember the day I met you. I don't remember exactly when I met you, but I know I met Paid for Fuss, I believe. And then I met you afterwards through Richie. So
I believe I met you before that, but you wouldn't remember that.
Probably, it's possible.
You were a kid then. Yeah. You were a kid then.
But it's very possible. But since I've met you, we've become really good friends, and it's a fun time every time we link up. Like, for example, the last time you were over here was we did the Father's Day Jam at
definitely
Wonky Dog.
That was a great experience, of course.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a lot of fun.
Great. That was like it wasn't packed, but the experience was awesome. You know, stuff like that lingers for a lifetime. That's basically what I sell my entertainment as, is not just entertainment, but we create memories, lifetime memories in terms of what we do.
Yep. So I want to get in because I know you basically trained Richie.
I trained a few people, but yes, I did.
So I want to know what it was like meeting young Richie at that time, because that was probably like when he was going to college, right? I would assume.
Yes, it was.
Yeah, so what was it like meeting young Richie? Like, how is he different from then to now, and what was it like training him?
Richie have not really changed much in terms of person and personality. And the reason that Richie was actually chosen to be taught among the team of guys that I was teaching at that time is because, one, he's a humble guy.
Yes, he is.
And he's open to learning. So that's the reason. That's the Richie I met, and he's still that Richie to this day. But that is basically one of the most appealing things about Richie. Like I said, he's open to knowledge, and he has a passion for music also.
Yeah, he does.
Yeah.
All day, that's all he does. He just, even when he have nothing to do, all now still he's not even planning events. But when we at work, he on his laptop and he organizing his music folders, getting
that's the work of a DJ that no one sees. If people just see you go out and it looks that easy that you just playing bam 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 bam. But the hard work of preparing in terms of getting your music, your content, putting in cue points, selecting songs, maybe creating crates, arranging the levels, and even mastering the music if the quality isn't to standard to you, is part of the hard work that happens behind the scenes. So when you go out, basically as a DJ, you just deliver, but there's a lot more that happens behind in terms of prep, practice, and like as any DJ or any DJ that have been taught by me, they'll tell you one of the things I always emphasize is being humble. Because I mean, like the guys that influenced me and taught me quite a few, and I'll use one name in reference, Ice Kid. Okay. That guy was a real still is. When it comes to playing events, Ice Kid is so humble. You wouldn't know that Ice Kid could do what he can do until he does it. You just see him and say, he look like much.
You know what's one thing I respect DJs for that I didn't really know about until like hanging out with Richie and helping him out and then hanging out with you guys and seeing the behind the scenes stuff is the amount of work it takes when you setting up for the event in terms of like the speakers and tents and the equipment. And then when the party is done, you have to pack it all up again.
So should I go into details in terms of that and
Sure,
explain that in terms of doing that? You see what you just went to? I mean, playing the music is just one part of delivering the service, but there's so much in terms that quantifies the rate and prices that you charge, what you're providing, where are you taking them to, and what is required of you when you reach to the event. And that actually is what I teach, like people that are within my camp, that when it comes to pricing, if somebody calls you for an event, I mean, there's a standard rate, but in terms of what you're providing, kind of quantifies and determines what you should charge. So people that ask me, so, why your price so high? Well, they don't see the part that when you gotta lift up them speakers, sometimes you gotta tote them upstairs. And then when you don't jump up and party with them and they all gone home to rest, you gotta take them and pack them up, put them back in the
sometimes that
vehicle
might be
that you...
6 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning.
Exactly. And then you got to pack them away if you're not storing them in the vehicle that you put them in. And then you go back to your regular life where you still have to function on your daily basis.
Yep.
So yes, it takes, I mean, I'm not trying to make DJs look any more than anybody else, but it takes a degree of dedication and a lot of energy
Definitely.
to fulfill the service of a DJ.
Yeah, it's a lot more than, because some people might just see it as just pressing a button to play music, and it's
Most people
more.
think it's just pressing a button, and when it comes to that, I mean, it might sound rude, but I've told people before, well, then get an iPod.
Facts. And then on top of that, to add on, it's not even just the amount of work either. It's like how much the equipment costs, because speakers
Of
cost
course,
some money. You have to buy your equipment, like your laptop.
it's already an investment from the start that you're in the hole from before you even take the job. You already invest in terms of product, like equipment. You maybe if I would you say basic setup will be a basic about, I'll say about $5,000-$6,000 off the bat. Your laptop, speakers, controller, players, or whatever you choose to use. And then you got to look into in terms of your content. I mean, some people download from anywhere. For me, I pay for pools. So when somebody calls and say, okay, I want you to play for 4 hours, calculate the amount of songs that plays within that time for that 4 hours, and realize to yourself, if I had to pay 99 cents for each song I play, how much money have I already spent?
That's crazy. And I never even thought about it that way. Because a song is like 3 minutes and you playing
Exactly.
for 4 hours.
And then
99 cents a
and
song.
everybody expects you to deliver whatever they require or in terms of hits for that given time.
Very true. That's crazy. That's the amount of work, thought, effort, energy. That's crazy.
So you just got the breakdown of being a DJ. So that's why I will tell anybody, if you're not serious, don't just jump into it, because it takes, like I say, it takes a sense of dedication and a lot of commitment. And it's like an addiction. It's like an addiction, because I would say, in terms of, I started on vinyls. And if I had $1 for each vinyl I owned in my lifetime, I would be a millionaire.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I just trying to picture the amount of vinyls. That's a lot.
Listen, I and sad to say, I have lost my vinyl collection in Oma. I think that's the one thing that actually made me cry. You ever say a big man cry? Yeah, I'm not ashamed to say it. I cried like a baby to lose my record collection because I had some priceless vinyls and some collector's items that were in mint condition, namely like the Beatles albums. I had the Bob Marley collections, every Bob Marley down to the dub albums. I had them. I had some unreleased 45s of Peter Tosh and a few others which were collector's items. All gone.
I
Thanks to
know the
Oma.
tears were real.
Yeah, it still depresses me to go to my house and see the room being empty.
I could imagine. That's crazy. But okay, not recently, no, but a while ago, you had a seminar for DJs, and you had some celebrity guests, and you
Yes.
actually got into play dub war with them, and yeah, it was a fun thing, but I remember witnessing it, and I was like, I would have never in my life imagined I'd have been in this room with all these specific people, with my friends,
Uh-huh.
because I knew basically everybody there, and watching you live in person with
Dry dub for dub.
dub for dub
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
Barry Hype and
And
Scratch
Scratch
Master
Master.
and King Bubba. Like, my mind was
Yeah.
blown.
Yeah. That was a great experience. I mean, Scratch, Barry and I have been friends for years, and in terms of content and dubplate, I must say I'm in no class with them, but
I think you held
I
your
have
own.
enough to defend. I was just gonna say I have enough to defend my own, and maybe a few that I didn't even pull based on the circumstances. But it was great. It was a great experience. Like I said, we had fun. That seminar was what more than what was given,
Very
or,
true.
or I should say, in terms of costs. We had it designated for what, 2 hours, and we stayed about 4.
Yeah, we stayed
I
very
think
long.
that you were the videographer, so
Yeah.
the content is in your hands, and I know that you have seen, like, in terms of information that was given was priceless, in my opinion.
Yeah, like for example, if you were allowed to sell it, which I know you're not, but if you were allowed to sell this content, the amount you could charge for this information, man, like literally all information that was shared could put people, and not just DJs, but anybody in the entertainment industry in a whole,
Musicians, yeah, miles ahead.
miles ahead. I mean, even me, I don't do anything specific with music, but like a lot of stuff what they said, I can apply that to like my videography
What you're
and
into.
all that stuff. Like,
Of course.
the amount of information
Of
was
course.
crazy good.
And like I said, that panel was carefully picked. And I must say, thank you for the crew, thank you for them for coming through in town. And even to Bonita, because, I mean, listen, Bonita have been at my side for I would say over 12 to 14 years now. I mean, I've been with Sniper Squad from the days of Lord Gang DJs, which some people can't relate to. But you can Google it, you can go up, research it. And Bonita have been instrumental in terms of music, in terms of worldwide hip-hop, especially hip-hop, R&B. She have been real instrumental in terms for artists such as maybe like Dre, Snoop, Eminem. I mean, I could go on and on. There's so many artists that Sniper Squad has been behind their career and have made them what they are today. But like I said, some people don't know.
Yeah, and that's okay that they don't know. It's fine. The point is, the body of work speaks for itself, I guess.
Of course it does. and it, like I said, it was a great experience. I, how should I say this? It's a great idea, but I don't think that I will do it anytime soon again.
Yeah.
It'll be something slightly different.
Well, I mean, you have to
Slightly.
make adjustments and stuff for the next one.
Of course,
or whatever you
it's
do.
learning experiences.
For sure. But I think it pretty much just based on the information they gave alone just made it a success.
Of course, it was a success, and I gotta say shout out to the guest that was there and was not advertised as a panelist. Shout out to Dwight, Rhythm Stream. He was actually quite instrumental in me dealing with it. Dwight is also one of the guys that does the bookings for Uber Soca Cruise for the Virgin Islands people who always talk about Uber Cruise. He was on the panel, but not officially, but he still shared some of his experience with the panel.
Yeah, actually, me and him, we actually became good friends after that. I got his number, and we text every now and then, and we play video games and stuff, Xbox and Switch and what's not. And he's
Of
a really
course,
cool
he's a
dude.
great guy.
I'm trying to
I
get
still
him to
communicate
be
with all of them.
I'm trying to get him to be a guest on the podcast also, but he's having like a little cold feet. Like he's not really too much into the interview.
He's a guy.
Yeah.
He's a guy that doesn't talk too
very much. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you're cool with him, yeah, but like in terms of public, he's that guy that does his work and would rather not be in the spotlight.
Yes, it's true. It's very true. Hopefully, I might be able to convince him still. We'll see.
Yeah, well, nothing beats trying.
Yeah, exactly. A few more people I would love to get on the podcast eventually will probably be people like Scratchmaster and Barry Hype, because I feel like they're people that you can just talk to for hours and you can just take in so much information from them.
Definitely. Those guys are like history books. I mean, there's so much in terms of Barry. I mean, even before the seminar, there were things about Barry that he revealed at the seminar I didn't even know he did. Like in terms of being the engineer for Third Wall, I didn't know Barry. I know Barry as a studio engineer. I didn't know he was a road engineer. I know he's a A&R for Black Shadow Studios, which produce, I mean, there's so many artists that have passed through Black Shadow, and popular rhythms such as Buzz. I'll use that as maybe one of the biggest rhythms. There are also a few in terms of soca rhythms, which they produce. He also was the official DJ for Rupee. So he had the experience of traveling on tour with Rupee, which he did share some of those experiences with everyone that was there.
Would you take an opportunity like that? Like if an artist said, I want you to be my DJ to go on tour and stuff, would you be willing to do something like that?
I was given the opportunity to do that at one point. And I would say big up to Super Dupes, Willie Chin, Bobby Chin, Black Chiney. I was offered to play on the sound for Black Chiney. At the time, I was a father of 2 young kids, and I personally grew without the presence of a father and didn't want my children to go through the process, so I refused the offer. I mean, we're still good to this day. Maybe I can't. Let me don't even add maybe, because there's certain things that you don't. How should I say? There's no balance or there's no replacement for it. So
yeah, I mean, sometimes you have to trade things off.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it would have been a great experience, but nothing beats getting to be there for your children.
Definitely, and I know you could relate to that, being that you're a new father.
Yes, exactly. She just made 6 months 2 days ago, actually.
See, there you go. So, and the joy of parenthood, I mean, nothing could replace that.
That is very true. There's nothing I wouldn't give up to be with my daughter, for sure.
But
I'm actually kind of sad because this weather put like a little pause in our plans because obviously it's like raining and stormy recently, and because she was making 6 months, we wanted to do like a little photo shoot for her, and the weather
Uh-huh.
just ain't been working in favor at all.
Well, hey, everything. You know what I look at life as everything has its time, reason, and season. Stuff that used to bother me or disappoint me in my past times, I kind of take and just say, man, listen, it happened for a reason, and it don't really bother me as much. So I move
Fair
on.
enough. As you
That's
should.
basic outlook in life.
As you should. For any people listening to the podcast that may want to get into the music industry or become a DJ or anything, you have any tips that you would give to brand new people that
Yeah,
want to get into this industry?
yeah. I would say to anybody who are willing, first thing, learn the fundamentals. Do not do it for fame, because if you're in it for fame and popularity, it won't last.
I agree.
Be passionate. And like anything, be serious about what you do so that what you do becomes a reflection of you. That's basically it.
That's great advice, actually. Really great advice.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see, trying to see if I could think of anything else or if I could let you go now. I think we pretty much covered a good bit of stuff. And we can always have you again on the podcast again in the future. So
Of course, I'm always available once it comes to something constructive and positive and informative. And like I said, my story is an open book. I've not been always this guy that people see as the DJ that comes and rocks your party, but it's who I am today, and I embrace it.
well, from my experiences of seeing you play, you're definitely one of the most talented DJs, if not just in the BVI, in the whole Caribbean, probably in the world. Might actually, I might even go as far to say.
I'll take the BVI. The wall I have seen. I mean, I travel, I experience talented, and I would say that I can hold my own. But there are DJs that are a lot more talented than me. Some of them I look up to, and still look up to. I mean, every day in life is a learning experience, and as a DJ, me personally, I'm not too big or too old to say I still learn stuff on a daily basis.
It's part of life.
In terms of DJing, I will add this statement that DJing has evolved, and so have myself. You got to stay in tune and stay up to date with what's happening, what's trending. It's like any given job. You got to invest time, and you got to invest to gain knowledge about your market or whatever you're doing. You can't just do it and feel that it gonna work. I mean, it takes time to grow your brand. Some people believe that if they jump in, the top is right there. I could speak. It's 25 years I've been doing this, and how should I say, the great part of what I've been doing, I've experienced. I mean, I've had fun times in the past, but I think my best experiences has been within the past 10 years.
That's nice.
I've had some great ones, but the peak ones, and those that have brought me to or I should say, I could use as a resume in terms of what I do or who I've entertained for. Those have happened within the past 10 years.
I got a quick question for you.
Go right ahead.
Your personal preference, not playing for a club or event or anything. Your top 5 favorite songs of all time.
That one gives me chills. You put me on the spot with that one.
Yeah.
Top 5 favorite songs as a DJ.
No particular order.
Eric B and Rakim, Paid in Full.
Nice.
Soca. Soca genre. The certain songs appeal to me with certain memories and moments. In terms of songs, Akon remix of Gun Session with Vibes Cartel. I think that is my biggest forward I ever got in a dance. I mean, like, that forward they raised my hair, like I was like wowed. And I think I was maybe one of the first, if not the first, to play that remix around the Virgin Islands.
Nice.
Soca. I am going back to soca. Soca songs. There are a few that are real appealing to me. Diamond Jamban.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Is a song that has a lot of value to me. Martino's Max, Rock and a Hard Place.
Oh, another one of my favorites.
And in terms of R&B and hip hop or smooth R&B, I would say Desiree, You Gotta Be. That is an inspirational song that always stuck in my mind.
Sounds like an all stylist to me. You name some heavy hitters for sure.
Yeah. Like I say, music, like in terms of favorites, I mean, how should I say it? There's a song for every moment in life, so I can't really put a finger, but those songs have stuck in my heart for certain reasons.
Understandable. Seeing as you've been in this industry for such a while now, and pretty much, as you said before, everything evolves and changes. So obviously, music has definitely changed from when you were starting to now.
Definitely.
Do you have a favorite era in music, like at this specific time, like maybe
90s.
like over a span of the 90s?
90s music. 90s music to me were priceless in terms of content. I mean, 80s had its time, Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston, but 90s music, the era of Eminem, Ludacris, in terms of dancehall rhythms, Faith, Up Close and Personal, Showtime. I mean, I could go on and on. But those selective years in terms of 90s, I think were more appealing to me.
I actually agree with you. Like people just didn't sing for singing's sake or just to make a hit. Like the music actually contained good content. You would learn stuff from listening to music.
Definitely.
All right. Well, I think that pretty much. I think that's good for now. Thank you again for being on the podcast. I really do appreciate it.
And thank you, Bunchi, for having me as a guest on your podcast. And I always wish you success in your endeavors. Dude, you're a great guy. Continue what you're doing.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Hope to have you back soon.
All right.
If you've made it this far, I know you enjoyed this podcast. What did I tell you in the beginning? Full of knowledge, so informational, and trust me, I'll have him back as a guest again because there's so many more things that I can talk to this man about. He has a wide range of knowledge, and not just on music, but on life in general. And I find it so interesting talking to people like that. And I know COVID has affected him a lot, same as it's affected me, probably more him than me because he is a full-time DJ and there's basically almost little to no events. So, Brother Wiz, I wish you nothing but the best, and I wish you success. And of course, times are hard now, but you're a hardworking man, you're a smart man. I know you'll figure it out. And you know we together on this, for sure, always. Thank you for being a part of the podcast. To all the listeners out here, thank you for listening this far. I wish you guys all nothing but the best. And be safe. Wear your mask. Drink lots of water. But make sure, wear your mask.